Hey Anthony, it's Damon. I'm going to take you through what we currently have been using for the last couple of months to have what we're calling marketers. Instead of affiliates, we're changing the name of affiliate to be marketer, a marketer. And so if you see the word affiliate in here, just know that we're changing that. We're not going to be using the word affiliate anymore. Basically, a customer, once they have proven themselves to be influential and to be able to make purchases of a certain amount, we're going to send them an email that we're going to automatically send them an email that will invite them to become part of our marketing team. And that email will have a link, and when they click on the link, they'll go to a page that you're going to create that we call the Marketer Central Agreement. And this is the flow that the person will go through, the workflow that they'll go through when they land on that page. And so the page needs to be on TrueNited.com, and they do need to log in. And so that way we know who they are when they log in. And so the link that we send them to, or the link that we have in the email, can either automatically log them in. I think that's not something we need to do right now, but just know that the page that you're going to create for the Marketer Central Agreement is going to be behind the customer login. So what will happen is they land on the page, and here's the basic information that we need to get from them. And all of this information will be stored in Session, and then the variables will be written out on a PDF form called a W-9. A W-9 is a government form that we use here in the United States, and it's an official form that once they sign it, it's what we use to be able to collect taxes from the person and send them a document at the very end of the year. So it's an important form, and that's why these questions are important for us to gather from each of these people. So rather than, I think what we want to do, because our users are not very tech savvy, we want to basically ask them questions and just display one question at a time. And then based on their answers, that will determine what question we ask next. So instead of showing just a big form with a whole long list of questions, this is the form basically down below. So this is called a W-9 form, request for taxpayer identification number and certification. And so you can see not everyone knows how exactly to fill this information out. There are some instructions down here, but there's just some basic information that we need to collect from the person, and then we can generate this W-9 for them and input their name, a business name, check one of the boxes, put in their address city, and either their social security number or a tax ID number here. And then what they need to do, or the other thing we need to allow them to do, once we display this W-9 and they can confirm that all that information is correct, on the website we need to give them the ability to sign, sign with using their mouse, or if they have a touch screen computer, to be able to use the touch screen to be able to sign, and we'll automatically put the date. And then they submit it. And when they submit it, they get basically a copy of the PDF with all the information in it emailed to them. And then all of that information, of course, gets stored as part of the customer profile. The fact that they completed this and all of the information that they filled out. So here's the basic workflow. The first thing we need to know from them is, are they an individual or are they a company? Are they an individual or are they a business? And in the United States, that's known as a limited liability company, an LLC. And so on the page, what we'd want to have is some text at the top that just gives us the ability to add some basic instructions. And then the very first question is asked. And the question should be, are you a business or are you an individual / sole proprietor? Okay, that's the first question. If they select that they're an individual, there's very few pieces of information we need to get from them at that point. Let's go down that path. If they are an individual, the next thing we need to show, these questions won't even be asked. The next question that we're going to ask is, we're going to display the name. The next step will be to display their name that we have on file. So this might say Damon Porter. Not in this form, but the next step, the next question will say, is this name correct? And then it will display Damon Porter, and display that in a text field that they can edit if it's not correct. Actually, the question should be, please enter the correct name for your Marketer Central account, and we'll display their name automatically because we already have it on file. Okay, and then the next, we won't need to have anything else. The next thing we'll do is we'll show them the address that we have on file for them from their account, and that's of course if there is a default. Let's use the default billing address, and so we'll load that default billing address and ask, please enter your correct mailing address. And it needs to be, please enter your correct mailing address, and with fields for them to be able to enter in the address, city, state, and zip code for their address, because at the end we'll put that information on a PDF form in these boxes here. And then the next step for the individual will be, please enter your social security number, or it's called a TIN. Okay, so it's either going to be a social security number, SSN, or TIN, and both of those are 9-digit numbers. So we need to have a text field where they can enter in 9 digits. And after that, because that's where we're going to put it right here on the PDF form. After that, we can display the information, kind of like a confirmation of everything they've entered, and then with a box for them to be able to sign. And we capture their signature as, I think we just capture it as an image, and then put that on the PDF file here. I hope that makes sense for the individual, because that's the easy workflow. Again, we're capturing the information as they're entering it, storing it in session or in the database, and then at the end showing them this PDF file. Again, it's a W9 form with the information already printed on it in the correct location, and their signature on it, and with a submit button so that they can receive that via email. Okay, that's the first workflow. The second workflow is if they select limited liability company. Or sorry, remember the very first question was, so please select the type of business. Well, no, the question was, are you a business or a individual / sole proprietor? And if they select that they're a business, the next thing that we need to ask them is, what type of business do you have? And then based on, and then that response is the options that they're going to use, which will be radio buttons, will be these options right here: C corporation, S corporation, partnership, trust, estate, or limited liability company. Okay, so those are the 4 options. There's 5 options: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And depending on which one they select, of course, we're going to put an X in the box on this form. The next thing to get from them is, the next question to ask is, what is your business name? And they enter that, and then on the PDF, we're going to put that right here in this box. And then the next step is to ask them okay, we've already got their business name. We need to ask them what state what is the state of incorporation, and have them select from a drop-down list all of the states in the United States, the 50 states in the United States. Okay, they'll select that from a drop-down list. Their business name obviously will be a text field. Then the next question to ask, if they have selected that they're an LLC, a limited liability, then there's some additional questions that we need to ask them. If they selected that they're an LLC, we need to say, what type of LLC do you have? And the options are single member or multi-member. Okay, they need to choose from one of those. Then the next question is, what is the management of your LLC? And they can select, the options are member managed LLC or a manager managed LLC. You can use these options exactly as you see them right here. The next question we need to ask, who is the primary contact for your business? And then we can put in there in a smaller print, the person responsible for important updates and tax information. And then give them a name field, a phone number, name, address, city, state, zip, and a phone number. And this information will not be added to the W-9 form, but it will be stored, and we'll use it to report on if we ever have a question about who some important tax information. This is the person that we'll be contacting. And then if they've selected that it's a multi-member LLC, meaning there's more than one person, then we've got to find out the name, address, city, state, zip, and phone number for each member. Usually there's only 2 or 3 if they've selected that it's a multi-member LLC. So that's where this information, the last question will be, please enter the names of all members of your LLC. Name, address, city, state, zip, and a phone number. And those should be required, all of these should be required fields. If we ask the question, it should be required to be answered. Okay, so for the LLC, once we have all of this information gathered, then we can create the W-9 form. And the LLC, it's the same form, but there's a couple of pieces of information that's going to be a little different. So we're going to put their name, the person's name, in this first field on the PDF. We're going to put the business name here on this one, and then we're going to select either C corporation, S corporation, partnership, trust estate, or limited liability company for their business type that they selected for us. Then we're going to put in the address, city, state, and zip that they entered for this primary contact information. Then instead of adding a social security number, because that's just for an individual, we're going to fill these boxes with their employee identification number. Sorry, that was a question I didn't talk about up here. So after they've entered their additional members, then the final question is, please enter your tax identification number. And that is a 9-digit number that's going to go right here. And then we display all the information on the W-9 form for them to confirm that the information is correct. And then we have them sign, and we can automatically date. And when they click submit, same thing. They get a PDF that has the exact information that they have entered, and that information becomes stored as part of their profile. All right, again, we're calling this the Marketer Central sign up, or that's actually the Marketer Central agreement form, and it's a new page that needs to be created with this workflow. Let me know what questions you have, and I'll send you a copy of this W-9.